Carp Talk, proudly sponsoring eXtreme Carp.
Welcome to one of the last bastions of English carp heritage, a place where dreams have been made and will be in the future. Now today we've got exclusive access to a big name who's a big man with big opinions, and he's bound to have caught a few.
Indeed I have, Rob, and many of you probably suspecting I'll be holding a bit of a lump and maybe a little bit surprised to see me holding a mid-double mirror, but what an absolute stunner. I learned a long time ago I can get as much fun out of fishing for fish of this size as any other, and what an absolute cracker. Just look at that.
Well, Chilly, you've dragged me, I was going to say halfway across the country, but it's 3/4 of the way down country to this place. Why on earth are we here?
Because it's a very, very special place. Special on 3 accounts. 1, it was mentioned in the Doomsday Book. 2, it's one of the oldest man-made lakes in the country. And 3, it was stocked in the early 60s by Donald Leaney.
So we've got a lot of history here, and it's the fish that particularly tickle my fancy. The old Leanies are stunning anyway. You know, what's the score on them? How long ago? How old are they?
1961 they went in here, so they're 51 years old, best part of. And they're all stunning little scaly fish, and they are still quite little. I think the biggest one's about 25.
How many's left? Sorry to interrupt you there, but how many's left?
12 to 15 probably. They're not quite sure because obviously being 51 years old,
yeah,
they're dying, but they've left a marvellous legacy. We've got fish that were actually born in Redmire Pool in here. I'm not quite sure how many of those
it's
either.
It's a double whammy, that, isn't it? Not only Leanies, but Redmire as well.
And they're incredible looking fish. They really are lovely scaly beasts. There's 20 Mark Simmons carp in here. And there are also about 100 fish from a rescue operation from a lake further on down the road. So you've got a little bit of a mishmash of all sorts. Some very special carp and some carp that will help the fishery into the future.
Well, patching was looking lively, and who better to guide us through the session than the current world champion?
I'm going to reposition the rod I just had a fish from. And the first thing I want to do, I'm not using a marker flat or anything, is to ensure that I'm going to land bang on where I want it to. I've cast the lead out and I've felt the lead down onto the bottom. It's very silty in here, and the area I want to fish is firm, and I know that lead is right on it. To get it accurately back on the spot when I attach the rig, I need to put it into the line clip on the reel. And all I'm going to do then is reel that in, and just by way of confirmation, make sure I can get it back there accurately. I'll have one more cast. Okay, I need to kneel down to do this because of the trees, and out she goes. It's not that far out, and I can use the rings of where that lead just landed to introduce my 3 offerings. First of all, because the rig is going to be attached to a PVA bag, I'm going to fire out 4 PVA bags, exactly the same as the ones that connected to the hook. Okay, the next thing I want to do, I just want to put a little light scatter and the boilies out there. And for that, I'm going to use 10mm and 14mm new Grange. There's some white on those baits. All that is the sugar being forced to the surface by the enzymes breaking down. And the next thing to do is get them in the pond. I'm not too interested in them all being in a nice tight group. Okay, that's all the free offerings in. The next thing I need to do is reel this lead in. Get my hook link with the PVA bag attached. Push the anti-tangle sleeve up over and then get it accurately back onto the spot. And that is bang on the money.
Sometimes in carp fishing you can prep like a world champion, yet you never quite know what's going to happen next.
I was just thinking about my lack of action, and no sooner had the thoughts entered my mind than my little rod out in the open water is ripped off. And I'm so pleased with this rod because everybody wants to fish tight to pads and snags when they see them, and really you don't have to. This is where bait, no, ay, ay, ay. This is where bait plays its role in carp fishing. Excuse me a minute, this is all, you know, if you bait away from them, from the snags and potential hazards, invariably the carp come and find you. Oh dear. This is desperately trying to get into these snaggy margins, and I'm probably being a little more heavy-handed than I want to be, but it's in the open now, so we're okay. That's another nice looking fish, it really is. I think all those attempts in the margins have wore it out quite quick, and it's that is in the net. Well, oh dear. Again, oh, it's not a monster, and I've got another rod going. Well, thankfully, the other fish, oh, it's right over there, dear. You have to back right off, mate. I'm coming right behind you. Get over there. Unfortunately, this has gone right round a set of pads, and I'm going to have to give it all the grief I didn't want to. I think we've got it round. Yeah, it's in the open water now. Whew. That was all a bit urgent. Hey, hey, hey. Now you can see the leads come off the clip. And it is the one thing when you're fishing, this isn't a snaggy area as such, but if they do get caught up in the lilies, you need that lead to come off, because it's the one thing that will get snagged. And what that means is you can successfully land your carp. And I've just got to say it, light my fire. And that is everything that's good about carp fishing. And if that ever changed, you can buy these rods. Yes! I think I've answered that age-old question. Does size really matter?
Well, after that little taster and seeing what Chilly's fish are like, I'm desperate to get myself a slice of carp fishing history. So I've come up at this end of the pond, the wind's blowing up here, it's looking quite nice, and I'm just going to have a little flick around with the lead over towards that far side. I don't want to be putting a marker float out, it doesn't really seem to be that sort of a pond, so just casting over there and feeling what it's like, and that, to be fair, feels quite nice. It's very silty all over the place, quite soft, but there are the odd firm patches here and there, so let's bring that one back in, have another flick over there, feel what it feels like, and if after 2 casts I'm quite happy with that, then I'll clip up and then stick some bait out. Stopping the lead, just feeling it down, certainly not feeling a donk, the water's quite shallow, I would say 2.5, 3 foot deep, and that's come out of that silt very easily there. So I'm going to pop that one in the clip. Remember that one for later. And stick a bit of food on the heads. Well, here I am directly opposite my swim, and this bank is a no fishing bank, so it just screams marginal patrol route. Just looking up there, there's no wind on the water behind me, and I think the fish might follow the wind up towards this end of the pond and sit in the sunnier areas. So that's my plan of attack. I'm using boilie just like Chilly, but rather than 2 different sizes, I'm going to use some whole and some crushed. And I'm going for 2 different options on this. One, a reasonable way out, a nice, fairly wide spread. And the other one will be a little bit tighter, just further down to my right. So, a nice little spread over there, here, there and everywhere, just to get those fish on the munch.
Carp Talk, proudly sponsoring Extreme Carp. Carp Talk, proudly sponsoring Extreme Carp.
Welcome back to the Extreme Carp Show, and we've exclusive access into Patching Pond in Sussex and the newly crowned world champion. Chilly, how does it feel?
World champion, I think I know somebody who's done it twice, but just for once in your life to be the world champion of something you love and you've given your soul to, I don't think there's anything better. And to share it with Lee Jackson was just the icing on the cake. And here's the biggest one of my 9 fish haul last night. One of Patching's 20 pounders. And I can't help feeling the future is very bright for this place.
Right, well, I've moved. I've just come down to the right-hand side of Chilly. He did have a spare rod out, pointing down this way, casting in this area, and he's caught a couple of fish on it. He's very kindly moved that out now, so I'm going to take advantage and see if I can pick one up. I've got a couple out in open water. I've got one down to the pads on the right-hand side. The fish, they've certainly been in this area, and fingers crossed, it might be history time.
Okay, let's talk rigs. I'm not one for changing them. I don't mess about with them. I found something that works for me, and it works in all the environments that I fish in, whether I'm fishing for smaller fish as I am today, or bigger lumps in the UK or on the continent. My main line, 12 pound Illusion fluorocarbon, hard as nails, sinks like a brick, down to a size 10 lead clip. Size 10 because it's small and unobtrusive. And make sure when you use a lead clip, you put the pin through the swivel and nail it to the swivel, stops you having a running lead set up then and the lead can eject. A flat pair lies flush to the bottom, and a size 10, and make sure it is a size 10 when you use this size of clip, swivel. Quick change swivel in this case, which facilitates the changing of hook links, which is 6 or 7 inches of strippable braid, anti-tangle sleeve at one end and a loop down to a size 7 SSC hook with a little bit of shrink tubing just to make a more aggressive angle on the hook. A long hair on which is a dumbbell Newgrange hook bait with a little bit of plastic corn on top. Never bothered by the colour, it's there to negate the weight of the hook. The long hair can tangle. I've trapped it with the boilie stop into the mesh, and that is never tangling. All that's left to do is hook that onto the quick change swivel, if my eyes will let me. Push the anti-tangle sleeve up, and we are ready to rock and roll.
Chilly, it's been quite an interesting exercise for me watching you baiting up.
Yeah.
Now, we've had this conversation before. You like meat, you don't particularly like vegetables, and you call your boilies your meat. You've been down, what, 50 odd hours? That's the plan for the session. How much bait have you been through?
20 kilos.
20 kilos. Now that's a lot. There's going to be viewers out there thinking, my God, that's an awful lot of bait to put in. That's going to be very expensive. Is it all boilie?
No, it isn't boilie. A lot of that is pellets, which is your background feed. I'm very fortunate. I can get pellets that correspond to the flavours of my boilies, which is a great way of getting that smell into the water. Pellets, smaller ones especially, get the carp rooting around, and it keeps them in the swim a lot longer. They can eat a lot of boilies very quickly because they're very available. Pellets keep them rooting around, and the longer they're in your swim rooting around, the more likely you are to catch one. You'll notice I've gone 5 or 6 yards past the pads and slightly to the left. I'm encouraging the carp to come out and feed on my bait there. I haven't locked the reel up solid because I don't want the carp to kite back into the pads. I want it to run away into the open water where I can play it and tire it out. If it does come back into those pads, then my quick release lead clip will get rid of the lead, and I'm able to draw it easily through and guide it into the landing net. The fish are just so on the bait now, they're just in this area, and as long as I can keep it nice and accurate, we'll keep catching them. It's only a smaller fish, but I've had a bit of a busy night, and I just think any fish, if it doesn't put a smile on your face, you might as well give up carp fishing. And again, this isn't the biggest fish I'll ever catch, but come on, baby. Trying to avoid that other line. Oh, bless it. Look at that. There's the beauty of the lead clip. I mean, the lead is still on, even though it got in the pads, but had it got into any difficulty, it's going to come off. And God, look at that for a little fish. When a little carp like that can fight so hard, he ain't given up yet either, has he? Look at that. I just think if it didn't, I might as well sell him my gear. And in it goes. That is an incredible little fish. Oh dear.
Well, I was hanging on for a carp whilst Chilly was still bagging, but I had a funny feeling my luck was about to change. Well, the sun is out, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, because I'm playing a carp. The move has paid off. Up there, It looked good, but there was nothing showing. Down here, there was nothing showing, but it was looking very good, and it's looking even better at the moment. I've just had a belter on the open water and safely through the little pads now for the landing net. And whilst it might not be the biggest fish in the world, as Chilly said all the way through the series, carp fishing is about enjoyment, and I must say I am properly enjoying this. Let's just get down. Don't fall off, baby. I really want you in. Where is he? And he is in the back of the net. Thank you very much. It's always nice to go to a water you've never seen before and catch a carp. I've caught one, and it's particularly nice when there's a bit of history behind it. Yes! Well, he certainly isn't the biggest carp in the world, but it really, really doesn't matter. Whatever your aspirations are in carp fishing, whether it's a big one or lots of little ones, or just simply having fun with your mates, the key word is, of course, fun. And the main thing is to enjoy yourself. Look at you. Well, that's it from me, and we've had a fantastic couple of days here on Patching Pond in Sussex. It was great to catch right at the death, but we'll leave the lake with a few words of inspiration from our newly crowned world champ, Mr. Ian Chillicott.
When did the penny drop? During my hugely limited amount of time when I was serving in the British Army, I met a couple of guys in 1994 on a lake that I was fishing who introduced me to what seemed to be perceived as the exotic world of big carp fishing, and for a few years I did. I chased big carp, and I came to a point where my personal life changed, my personal circumstances, and I had to start fishing for smaller carp again. And I didn't think I'd enjoy it, and I can tell you now, whatever size of the carp, they'll put a smile on your face. And when my circumstances changed, I think that was one of the most pivotal moments in my life, because I could get enjoyment from catching any size of carp.
There's something quite special on the end of here, and that's a maggot clip. Now, this is a great way of presenting maggots on the end of it rather than on the actual hook itself. Now, as you'll see, this is an arrow shape, which is unlike conventional ones, which are round. The maggots can't bunch up on the front of it. There's only two sides to it, so you'll see in a second when I show you the finished rig, there's no bunching up at all. There you go. Absolutely perfect. And you'll see the advantage as well with the silicone, so it doesn't matter. There's no way those maggots can get round and mask that hook point. So it's a really clear presentation. Now, bait-wise, or the introduction of bait, what I'll do is I'll tie up 4 or 5 bags like so, clip them up, cast them out, bait the area like that accurately by fishing the line in the reel clip. Then all I've got to do with the last one is attach it into the tag end, like so. I won't hook into the bag because you always run the risk of actually bursting a maggot, and then your bag's going to come off on the cast. But you can see, great little presentation. What fish can resist that?
Carp Talk. Proudly sponsoring eXtreme Carp.